Alright, and welcome to the Ultimate Guide to Basic Expressions, Level 1. Now, in our very first example, it asks us to simplify 1/2 x squared plus 5x minus 2x squared plus 8x minus 7. And you'll notice that right here, in order to simplify this, we want to combine our like terms. So I'm going to use different colors to kind of underline different like terms. I see here I have an x squared, and so now I look for everything else that also has an x squared. And I see an x squared right there. I'll use a different color. I see here an x, so now I look for everything else that has an x. And lastly, I just see this negative 7 over here by himself, and he has no x. Well, that's our constant, okay? And everything else, of course, would be a variable because it has a letter. Now from here, what I want to do is, let's go back to my colors, is I want to go ahead and combine my positive 1/2 x squared with my negative 2x squared. And you'll notice we have a fraction. Whenever we have fractions, we want to do our fraction work off to the side. So I'm actually going to kind of draw myself like a little box over here. And the real thing I'm saying here is positive 1 over 2. And see how we have a negative. So we're saying 1 over 2 minus 2. Now recall your level 4 fraction video. In order to subtract a fraction and a whole number, we actually need to change this whole number into a fraction by changing it to 2 over 1. And then from there, we need to actually get a common denominator by saying, okay, well, 1 times what number will get me to 2? Now I want you to think about that. 1 times what number will get me to 2? Well, 1 times 2. And if I multiply the bottom by 2, I have to multiply the top by 2. So switching back to my purple, I now have 1 over 2 minus 2 times 2 is 4 over 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 minus 4 on top will give me negative 3 over, and remember, when adding or subtracting fractions, your common denominator stays the same. So I would say that 1 over 2x squared minus 2x squared gives me negative 3 over 2x squared. From here, switching to my green, I see that I have positive 5x and positive 8x, and 5x plus 8x will of course give me 13x. And lastly, my constant, my minus 7, has nothing to combine with, so I just drop it down right, minus 7. And we have now simplified this first expression. Let's go ahead and move on to example number 2. Okay, let's take a look at example 2. Here we have 15xy minus 3 over 2 x cubed plus 8xy minus 6/5 x cubed plus 3x squared. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start just by underlying my like terms. Here, I see the variable xy, I see the variable xy, and I know that those will combine. Let's use a nice, let's use this nice green. I see here I have an x cubed and an x cubed. And lastly, I have this x squared, which looks like it's going to stay by itself. Now, going back to my initial color, we have 15xy plus 8xy. Well, of course, what's 15 plus 8? That would give us 23xy. Now from here, let's switch back to my green. I see that I have my negative 3/2 x cubed and my negative 6/5 x cubed. Remember, we always want to do our fraction work off to the side. So I have negative 3 over 2 plus, and I'll just rewrite this as negative 6 over 5. Now notice here, we actually have a bit of an issue. There's no number I can multiply 2 by to get to 5. So in this case, I actually have to multiply them by each other. Let me say that one more time. If I can't multiply 2 by a number to get to 5, or I can't multiply 5 by a number to get to 2, then I'm actually just going to multiply them by each other. So I have a 2 and a 5, so I do 2 times 5 on bottom and 5 on top. And on the right side, I'll do 5 times the other one, so 5 times 2 on bottom times 2 on top. And when we use our fraction multiplication rule, top times top, 5 times negative 3 gives me negative 15 over 5 times 2, which is 10, plus top times top, negative 6 times 2 is negative 12 over 5 times 2 is 10. And what is negative 15 plus negative 12? Well, I'll have to squeeze it in. That's going to be negative 27 over 10. So I can write minus 27 over 10x cubed. And lastly, we see that this x squared has nothing to combine with, so I write plus 3x squared. And at this point, I have simplified my expression. All right, thank you all so much, and I'll see y'all in our level 2 video.